Models of Education by Morgan Mann. The first model is the Montessori model. The Montessori method was created in the early 1900s by Dr. Maria Montessori. She believed that children learn from child-centered methods. The method encourages independence, hands-on learning, and learning from peers. The classroom consists of various stations, teachers working in groups, and a non-traditional grading system. All aspects of children's progress through life is taken into consideration. For example, their academic, moral, social, and emotional needs. Most students and parents are used to letter and number grades given out by teachers. However, that's not the case in the Montessori school. They use a non-traditional grading system, which consists of teachers constantly observing their students and keeping track of their progress. The students then have to pass their readiness grades rather than a certain letter. As we know, most traditional schools are broken by age, which then the kids are placed into grades. Montessori schools are mixed-age classrooms, which younger students can learn social skills and academic concepts from older students. Older students learn leadership and mentor skills from being with younger students, and both are able to develop an empathy for each other. Some pros to the Montessori method is an emphasis on hands-on independent learning. This includes natural light and space are priorities in this design. They have sensory-based objects such as sandpaper letters and geometric solids, and most importantly, it allows children to work and develop at their own pace. It also includes enhanced social interaction, which comes from the mixed-age classrooms, peer-to-peer learning, and embodies inclusion and acceptance. It also promotes learning, which can encourage students to be curious about the world around them. It wants kids to enjoy going to school rather than viewing it as a burden, and the ability to connect with students and ideas to different situations. Some cons about the Montessori method is it is expensive because it entails high quality learning materials and an in-depth training needed for all teachers. It is not accessible to everyone. A tuition is charged. It is a private school. Admission is regulated. Therefore, it is harder for lower income students to be a part of. It also has open-ended structure, and children like structure and routines in the classrooms. Also, the desk design, it calls for a more open floor structure, which can be seen in that picture, rather than the desk being in groups like in a traditional classroom. They're often more open and allows the kids to be on the floor and play games and be interactive with each other on the floor. The second model is the high scope model. So the high scope model was conducted at a preschool study, which was done by a psychologist. And it was basically where they took 123 preschool children who were at risk factors for school failure. So it could be between their the mental abilities, learning disabilities, the academic pace. It could be economic related, anything like that. And 58 of them entered the preschool study program where they attended school prior to just like a kindergarten class, and 65 of them received no formal preschool program. And these 123 preschoolers were studied their entire lives and the future education system. The results of the study was students who entered the program were less likely to experience teenage pregnancy, they were more likely to graduate from high school, and less likely to commit crimes. So the overall basis of this study was that they gained intellectual and social development for future success in schools, and the economics and performance were enhanced. So the high scope model in a classroom can be shown through the learning environment. They often have materials that are designed for specific play, and it promotes independence for accessing and putting away materials. So you're often like the children will go and put their own bins away or grab their own bins, and the bins are like labeled, so they are able to do that, and it makes them more independent into going and getting their own things and cleaning up after themselves. The adult-child interaction is taking a problem and solving it. So the teacher can often give a problem and the students come up with a solution. Sharing control, rather than the teacher being the high power in the classroom, the students also have the time to interact with each other. And supporting and encouraging. Obviously, just teachers and parents are the biggest support system in a student's life. The daily routine is small and large group activities, which can often enhance the learning progress because it's more one-on-one and you can focus more on students who are struggling. You can group them in one group, and children who are succeeding, you can access those needs through having them in a different group separated. Assisted cleanup. A lot of teachers will provide roles within the classrooms and often sign a cleanup crew, and that is where they come in for their daily routine. And self-care skills, making sure that the kids are taking care of themselves and using the bathroom and washing the hands and doing stuff, all of this just to become more independent. Some pros and cons. So pros are it's a research-based project. They have active learning in the classrooms. They design a daily routine for the students and often provide support from teachers and parents. Some cons is it's no structured curriculum. It's kind of just how the teacher views the room. So there is also no predictable arrangement. So you can't go into the classroom because there is no curriculum. You can't provide parents with what exactly is going to happen in the classroom. And training teachers can be difficult for this, obviously, because they have nothing to go off of. It's just kind of based off of what they see and hear in the classroom. The third model is the Amelia approach. For the Reggio Emilia approach, the curriculum is structured to allow a child-centered approach. It allows for more of a hands-on experience. It can enrich social skills, critical thinking, and creativity in the classroom. It's able to demonstrate learning through art and language and moving. It is encouraged to question and interpret the world. Some pros to this approach is critical thinking. It helps the children to learn to question and solve problems on their own. It also enhances creativity because this approach encourages painting and art, such as like pottery. It develops artistic skills and can bring their knowledge outside their comfort zone and allow them to think outside the box. Their social skills are provoked because they are encouraged to work in small and large groups. So it allows collaboration, project, and groups, which can help develop strong communication skills within each other and obviously enhancing those skills. Some cons are the risk of individual needs. So it may lack the focus of individual needs due to high collaboration. So because they're working in groups all the time, it's hard for teachers to be able to intervene with what their group is deciding or encourage students to speak up in the groups. Students may require more attention and may struggle in the collaboration position. So if they have that lack of confidence in talking and bringing up their own ideas, it's hard for students to use that part of the approach in the collaboration area. The measure of learning, since there's no tests or benchmarks or curriculum, the measurements come from the observation of the teachers, which can lead to inconsistent measures. So if teachers pay maybe certain students more attention, then it's hard for everyone to get the same equal opportunity, no matter who the teacher is. That's going to be a hard thing to follow. And it is child-centered, so it leads to differences in development among children. So because the children are able to have so much impact on the curriculum, as you would call it, it would be hard for a student in a traditional school and this approach, they may not be on the same level. The last method is the project approach. So the project model, it makes learning in the classrooms come to life so they can take part of the curriculum that they're studying and turn it into a project, and it allows them to get that hands-on learning. It also allows students to become more interactive. Students engage in the in-depth investigation of real-world problems and topics, and it can help them apply their knowledge to make a product. So like I said, they take that, what they're learning in the curriculum, and they get to design their project based on what they're learning. Some pros to this approach is it promotes hands-on learning, so students can create live projects, and it can enhance the creativity within the classrooms. Also works on building team management, so because the projects you work in groups, it can allow students to share ideas and enhance those social skills and making you more confident in the in-classroom kind of talk. It also enhances creative thinking, like I said, because they're able to develop their critical thinking abilities and come outside the box and thinking of how they can take what they're learning in the classroom and making that project, like I've said. Some cons to this approach is it can lead to problematic group issues, so it can lead to the clashes of their students, and therefore all students can't show their capabilities if two people in the group don't get along, or someone says something and the other student maybe doesn't agree. It can cause that conflict, and then not all students are enhancing from this approach. Also it can decrease productivity. So the freedom of choice in projects can cause issues because there's no guidance. So because no teacher lays out a structure of what they do in the classroom, it can obviously cause less productivity in the classrooms. The fail aspects, if students make projects off of interest but have no interest. So if teachers are like, hey, why don't you make a project based off of this curriculum approach, but the students aren't really interested and they're not interested in what they're learning, then it's hard for students to create that project, and therefore they can in turn fail that aspect of this approach. The model I would choose in my classroom and that I find the most effective is the Montessori model. This model allows children to choose interesting activities which can keep them engaged and wanting to come to school rather than finding it as a burden. I also like the idea of mixed-age classrooms. It allows younger students to learn from older students and older students learn from younger students. On the right is a chart of Montessori students versus traditional students. I think the key factor here is to realize that high motivation, high importance is almost double for Montessori students than traditional students. This is the Works Cited. Thank you.